Okay, so for today's TED Talk, we're talking about how miscommunication happens. So we just watched the video and let's move on to the discussion questions. So, Mel, let's start with you. What do you think of the talk? What are your opinions on it?
Me or Ellie?
Me?
Yeah. Ellie.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think of the talk?
The talk is saying about how the miscommunication caused, and also it gave the speakers gave us some suggestions to reduce the miscommunication.
So do you think they're useful? Do you think you learn something?
Yes,
about?
I think it's useful and makes me understand more about the root cause of the miscommunication, and I learned the skills to I learned the skills for the communication, communicate with other people.
Okay, on how to communicate, right?
Yes.
Yes, on how to communicate.
On how to communicate.
Great. So how important is communication? Evan, what do you think about this? On a scale of 1 to 10, say 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest.
Yeah, I think communication is the highest. I'll rank it 10 because because we live in a society and we need to cooperate with a lot of with others in our life, not even in our work, but also we have to have some other activities like shopping or hang out with your friends, and all of these activities we need to communicate with our friends and colleagues and our family.
Okay, I agree with that. And what do you think you do well when you communicate? Ellie, what do you think that about this question? Or what do you do well? Can you give us some examples?
Based on my experience in the past, I learned listening is more important than speaking. So I think I'm doing well on listening to someone and try to understand what they want to express first, and afterward I can I can give them the advice or answer their questions. I think to understand the questions and understand the statement they said is what I used to do that.
Okay, so in the video it said about being a passive listener and an active listener. right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you want to emphasize this point, being an active listener.
Yes.
Don't listen, don't wait for you to speak, right? You really need to listen to others. Okay.
Yeah.
So Evan, question for you. How would you rate yourself as a communicator? Like, do you think you communicate well, and how so? Can you prove that?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at communicating with my colleagues and some junior colleagues or students. Yeah, but if someone irritate me, first I'll become difficult to we will I'll become very irritated and very difficult to reach some um, how to say, just like it will make me difficult to communicate with someone who forced me to do something, or they they are reluctant to have some compromises with me. For example, sometimes my boss and she asked me to revise some tables of figures in my research, and I just thought it was not necessary, but she insisted her opinion and repeated. So it just made me be forced to do something, and by someone using their power or their level in our in my in my hospital or in our groups. So in this situation, I'll become I feel that I could not communicate with this kind of person. Yeah. So I think I can communicate with most of my colleagues. Yeah, but there's still someone it's difficult for me to communicate with them.
Okay, so it kind of depends on the person as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So communication is not that easy. We all know that. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. What does the quote mean? Do you agree with it? And when we communicate, what is more important, listening or talking? Okay, I think we'll skip that because Ellie already talked about that. But what does this quote mean? Ellie, what do you think?
I think the quote means we need to listen carefully to understand why and what they are saying, and to understand clearly would make us make decision or going forward smoothly.
Okay, Evan, what do you think? Do you agree with Ellie's analysis of this quote?
Yeah, I think effective communication require us to listen, pay attention, listen to our like audience or communicators, and we have to pay attention to what they said and analyze analyzing their meaning, try to understand or in why they what they want to convey and at their positions, and this instead of speaking a lot, more listening will be a good more important in a communication.
Okay, so let me ask Ellie, can you give us 2 good qualities of a good communicator? Because it's really important for, I think, a lot of jobs, either you're a doctor or engineer, if you want to communicate with your team members, it's very important that you are a good communicator. So what are 2 qualities that you can think of?
I think one is the empathy, because when people feel you has empathy and understand where are they, they would relax and also discuss with each other peacefully. Yeah. And another is logical thinking.
Oh, logical thinking.
Yeah,
that's a special one.
Yeah, because in a discussion, there is much information from different parts, so you need to think quickly and also need to understand all the people's statement, and also you need to summarize the conclusion. So the logical thinking can make the communication more efficiency and effectively.
Okay, right, can be more efficient and more effective.
Efficient and more effective.
Good. Okay, Evan, what problems might occur when communicating with someone? What is a big problem?
I think sometimes I think I had I had a very long meeting, and I think what is a kind of problem because we waste a lot of time during the communication, and and there are many factors might lead to these situations. for example, I think in a communication, there is necessary we need organized person in our meeting and in the communication, so that this one can organize what people said, and help us to indicate to draw a conclusion or indicate a new step, push our our discussion forward, and so that we will not waste a lot of time. And another point is sometimes there are some people, they're emotional and not very not logical, not a logical thinking guy in our meeting or communication. And in this situation, this person will be difficult to accept others' opinions. Yeah, maybe sometimes because maybe some people, not only emotional. I think maybe some people are cocky or full of themselves. They are difficult to accept others' opinion, and in this situation, will spend a lot of time just stick in one point in the communication.
Yeah, it's a good point. Really good point. I think we can start talking about the rules of good communication. Okay, so the first one, Ellie, can you read the first one?
Engage actively with the verbal and nonverbal feedback of others and adjust your message to facilitate greater understanding.
Okay, how can you explain this in your own words? Can you give an example of how you can engage actively? So you're talking about verbal, right? Verbal means the talking, and nonverbal is more of like the gestures. Evan, can you help her out with this one? What do you think?
Yeah, I think yeah, I think nonverbal feedback is very helpful in a communications, because it could help us to understand the speaker's feeling and his mind during a communication. For example, if if a speaker and he said something sad, but his face, he's smiling, and that makes me think that he just tell me a joke, not a truly sad story or something bad. Yeah, so I think nonverbal feedback is very helpful. Yeah, for communication.
Okay. So the second one is listen with your ears, with your eyes and ears, as well as with your gut. Remember that communication is more than just words. Ellie, how can you explain this one? So it says about your gut,
Um.
right? Here it says about your gut.
Yeah.
Your gut. We often hear your gut feeling. Okay, so it's like inside of you, right? More of like inner of your heart. Not inside.
Listen with your eyes and ears is to help us more touch others real meaning, so that when we are in a communication, we can we need to look at the back of the words and back of the emotion.
Right. So it's more of you need to, it's not just speaking the words, right? You're trying to understand the whole meaning of what someone is saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take it all in and then you kind of like make it internal. Yeah, in internal way.
Internal.
Yeah. Okay. So in the rush to express ourselves, it's easy to forget that communication is a two-way street. Be open to what the other person might say. Evan, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think this one is very important. Yeah, as what I said, I usually be irritated to my boss because she usually only only said express her opinions, and although she listen to me, but I just I always think she didn't pick she didn't figure out what I said. Yeah, so I think to spend more time in listening and try to really understand what your audience, what your partner's idea is is a key factor in a successful communication.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so number 4 is be aware of your personal perceptional filters, elements of your experience, including your culture, community, and family, influence how you see the world. So I think the last point here is going back to when they say, remember that you should try to think in other people's shoes, right? Or try to understand what the other person is saying, right? It's not trying to push your own opinions towards others, trying to accept what others say and to understand what they are actually saying. Okay, so I think that's also something that's very important. So Ellie, what do you think about the last point? Is that something that you find easy or hard to deal with?
I think most of the time is hard to deal with because like the statement 3, sometimes we are we try to express ourselves even in a meeting or even with our family, but we normally forget to put our subjective
We're subjective. Okay, we're subjective.
Down. And try to express ourselves in a in a empathy way. So it would make us easily to fall into a bad situations on communications.
Okay, great. Right. So try to be empathetic.
And empathetic.
Okay, great. So time is a little bit short. I want to carry on with our debate. Okay. So communication is not just deliver the message, right? You need the other person to understand what you're saying. That is the whole purpose of communicating. So here, one side is going to debate on the message and what you say in communication is the most important. That I'm going to give Evan, and Ellie, you're going to debate on the other side. Willingness to listen is the most important. Okay, so each side is going to have 3 reasons why, and then we're going to see who wins the debate and have more of a discussion and give some feedback. Okay, so I'm going to quickly give you guys 1 minute to take a quick break and then come back for the debate. Okay.
Okay, no problem.